4K.
Man, I can get like one extra chin. Like, how does he get 7? I mean, that guy is chinned up like a baller, man, I tell you.
Anyways, it's another Thursday. It's another SEO Unmasked. It's episode number 8 on September 21st, 2017. I'm Garrett Groff.
I'm Finn.
Steve Brownlee.
We are guestless tonight. We had a late notice cancellation, but that's just fine. I'm sure we'll be entertaining as always. Something I didn't have in the news list that I thought we should probably talk about just really briefly is, very generally, because Steve and I have had some experience in this industry rather extensively, but we can't comment on a lot of it, would be the drug and alcohol rehab space. I think we were talking last week in the news a little bit about they're starting to crack down on the ads and all the fake call centers and misleading people into thinking treatment centers are somewhere when they're not. And, you know, it's been a very lucrative game. Even up until now, it was very lucrative, but apparently even after we got out of it, SEO contracts have well exceeded $30,000 a month for small local rehab facilities, where I think our average retainer was around $15,000. And some of the costs have just inflated to the point where insurance companies are
doubled in 5 years or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah. This guy was telling me and showing me reports that I think when we were working in this space, the average insurance company would pay up to like $35,000 a month, and now the average cost in 2 weeks is like they'll bill it out as an average of $71,000, and then negotiate down with the insurance company and see what they'll actually pay. So it's not just from an SEO standpoint or a marketing standpoint, but I think that industry as a whole is finally going to get the shakedown, or maybe not a shakedown, the crackdown that it probably needs, because there are a lot of people in need of this service and need to get help, and they're just being sold like cattle to the highest bidder who's going to pay the most for this lead right now, shipped off to some shitty house in the middle of Delaware. And then
I worked for a client last year that was in that space, and as far as the affiliate or the price per lead that they were paying, I wouldn't be surprised if it was well over $1,000 for a not a lead. I'm sorry, for a bed fill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more if you get the premium stuff. I mean, they can be getting paid $5,000-$6,000 for and they avoid the no. That was the interesting thing in the article for me, was they were talking about how they avoid the bed brokering, because if you provide a patient that has the right insurance, all the paperwork, and fly them somewhere, they'll pay you $6,000 to $10,000 to drop them off, because they know they're going to get that $70 a month for a while. Yeah. But obviously that kind of bed brokering is illegal. So to get around it, according to this journalist, and maybe Garrett still has the article since he still started us off. If not, it will be in the comments when it goes live properly. This journalist was saying that they would simply give them a credit note saying you owe us $2,000 for this flight, and then just write it off. But as long as you pretend the person isn't being body broke, they're definitely going to pay you back for this flight that they definitely really wanted and didn't think was free. It's not body brokering, so you can ship them around whatever you want. So whoever gives you the biggest commission.
Steve, were you the guy that was telling me about the like fake houses? It was like basically like foster homes for the rehabilitated that were just like shams.
That was another journalist. I think that was in CNN a couple of years ago. The guy went out and he sat outside one of these rehab facilities, and they were billing for 120 outpatient consultations a week to the insurers. He counted 18 people total in and out of the building over a 1 month period, and they were billing for 120 every single week. $1,000 a consultation. I mean, that's a lot of money. The insurance companies are out like $1 million a month.
Sounds like they didn't have the resources to verify that, or didn't have the systems in place.
No, it didn't sound like it. It's an industry that's full of some interesting players. I mean, there's some really legit guys in the industry, though. I mean, people that really do care. The problem is the patient doesn't know who they're in the hands of when they phone, because of all the shady marketing and people with fake addresses. And it's a problem that And we're pretty fair to Google, I think, on the show. I think it's a problem that Google has with local listings generally.
Do you guys think it, regardless of like the morality and the ethical nature of it, do you think it's actually Google's job to filter this out?
I think it's Google's job to make sure their local listings are accurate. I mean, if it was in the yellow pages, they could probably have already been fined under old laws. But there's all this safe harbor stuff that protects internet companies. So because Google allows users to update the maps listing, because that's where most of these fake listings come from, they find vulnerable treatment centers that haven't claimed their own listings, change them to their phone number, and wait till someone notices and get all the free calls in the meantime. Now, if that was the yellow pages and they were just printing scammers' phone numbers randomly in amongst, they wouldn't be protected. They could be sued, fined, whatever. Internet companies are protected by safe harbor, where if it's user-generated content and they're just the platform that hosts that user-generated content, safe harbor protects them against a lot of stuff. Now, whether it protects them in this individual case or not, it's not been tested in court, obviously, so we don't know. But I think a time will come when internet companies have to live by the same standards that everyone else has had to live to for a long time, especially when major harm is the result of their not being held accountable to the same standards.
I think that's going to be what first needs to happen is regulators need to be able to understand the technology first and foremost before they can actually go ahead and regulate properly.
So if we're going to wait for that, we'll be dead.
Yeah, I think we're going to be waiting forever for that. So to me, it's just going to be like one Band-Aid after another, and then it just, when one door closes, another scam opens up.
Technology's posed a big problem to politics, actually. I mean, without getting in, it's not party specific or country specific. It's just a big problem that traditionally stuff didn't change very much. So you could reasonably say someone who's, 55, 60, they've seen it all, they've been through the system, they understand how shit works. They weren't a bad choice to be a politician versus like a 24-year-old kid that doesn't know anything yet. Now it's like they're the least in touch with what the change is coming. They're the least able to understand what the risks are. I mean, none of them would have even have thought about people going around claiming other people's listings on Google and changing the phone number. I mean, there's literally no one at the regulator until it happened could have foreseen that. Whereas you go back to the old days, your old boy that's had 20 years in industry before he got into politics or whatever, he's seen all the games that used to go on in the old days in industry, but it's a whole new Wild West now. And the people you'd have thought in the past would be good politicians and the people with the experience, they don't know anything about the stuff they're now trying to be in charge of and where the risk is. Because there's no risk when cold, like the old.
So scammers understand that, and they're taking full advantage of that fact that the powers that be have no idea what the hell's going on at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, you saw that with the UK government where they fired their security advisor for disagreeing with them on technology security.
Yeah.
The guy said, "No, this isn't possible. None of your policies are going to work. Like, it's not even possible," and they fired them.
Yeah. You know how we were talking about Experian last week? That was Experian, right?
Equifax.
It was Experian.
Equifax, yeah. I just shared a post on Facebook. Apparently, they created a separate site. They created a separate website to people to go to report or to figure out if they were affected by the hack. And they actually tweeted out a phishing site on the actual Equifax Twitter account.
Yeah,
those guys have got their shit together.
Yeah. So I think another however many thousand were affected because Equifax actually sent them to the wrong site to figure out if they were affected or not, and it was actually a phishing site. So that's pretty cool.
Fuck up. Yeah. Did you guys see that CCleaner, the utility for Windows, got hacked?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to update that right now.
Yeah, that's another one.
So if you see any weird stuff on Vin's feed, it's because he's not kept his system clean. So today's podcast is sponsored by Ubuntu, where you don't have to worry about this stuff, and Apple Macintosh computers. No major viruses since 19 whenever.
It's funny because I never update CCleaner. Like, I'll use it for years on a machine and then just never update it. So I checked, and like the one on my old laptop was fine because I haven't updated it. The one on this machine that I just built last month was fine because I downloaded it before they got on the server. But of course, like the laptop I just bought and put it on, that was like the exact same day that they claim they got infiltrated. So I don't know. Updated it. Hopefully it's fixed properly. The article
probably just need to. You probably just need to destroy that laptop now.
Yeah, just spend $800, throw it out the window because I don't buy warranties, so I can't even spill something on it.
Yeah, you're out of luck there, man.
Anyways, Steve, I think you want to talk about some A/B testing and why someone says you shouldn't do
it. Pep, I know how to pronounce his first name. I don't know how his surname's pronounced. Pep Large, I think it is, from Conversion XL. So, I mean, this is something Garrett and I have been like raging on at people about for sort of 8 years or something ridiculous like that. I don't know. Like these little companies, and they have, I don't know, they get 4 phone calls a day, and they want to A/B test their landing page for Plumber Philadelphia or something. Obviously, his pop-up page is blocking my tablet now, so I can't even read the article until it goes away.
Yeah, it did it to me, but you should be able to exit out.
I mean,
if you guys scroll down and then it appears.
It was just a really faint grey button to try and discourage me. But yeah, I mean, so they haven't got enough data. You can change the whole page, and they might get 6 calls a day for 2 months, and then 3 forever. You know, both those results are within just what would be statistically predictable, and you can see that in poker where it's a 70-30 skill game, 70% skill, 30% gambling. You can have guys like Leatherass, who is one of the biggest winners in the kind of highest sort of below the big stakes, the $1,000 buy-in tables. He is one of the biggest winners in those tables, and he had a 1 million hand break-even year or something ridiculous shit, and he had his hands analysed, and this top statistician was just like, you just had a bit of an unlucky year, mate. You know, it was all within what would be predictable. You know, so you need a lot of data to start doing A/B testing, and there's people that'll take $20,000 off that mom and pop plumbers and say, we've done some A/B testing and we got you an uplift of 87% on your calls per day. We're going to take our performance bonus now for 2 months, and then it goes down, and they're like, we better do some more testing. And Pep's just saying here, look, if you're not doing 1,000 transactions a month, you're not even close to enough data to even bother with this stuff. Because by the time you've spent the 20 grand on doing it, there's got to be something better you can have done with that money to get like a 2% uplift.
It's just basic statistical analysis. Like your sample size, you'd have to, if like a small business, let's say they're just raking in the leads, and you're getting 5 leads a day, just killing it, and that's 150 a month times a year is like, what, 1,700 or something, 1,800, whatever it is. That's not even enough to really say which one's working better than the other, because either way, then you have to go another year and wait, and so many things have changed in that 2-year time frame. There's no way your sample size is big enough.
Yeah, if you do 1,000 sales a year, you've got to wait like 8 years to find out if your test worked.
Yeah.
Steve, is he referring to A/B testing on all traffic or SEO stuff, content? Or
just generally, you can't infer any results unless you're selling at least 1,000 a month, that's his kind of rule of thumb. I mean, obviously he's recommending, and they don't take clients unless they're much bigger than that, because it's expensive to do right. I mean, the only place I would say, I mean, he doesn't really touch on it, so I can't say I disagree with him. The only time I would say small businesses should be A/B testing is just on stuff where it's free. Like if you're using Facebook ads, you know, by all means, it takes you an extra 20 minutes to dump up 3 different versions of the ad.
Yeah.
Slightly different, you know, stuff where it's free. You know, one of them might perform so much better that, if one of them is double over 50,000 impressions or something, it doesn't matter whether it's statistical significance. If you knock it out the park, is much higher, and it was free. It didn't cost you anything, so you weren't. Or like if you're using ClickFunnels, where you can just you're clicking to pick in 4 seconds to pick 3 different landing pages you want to try. So you're losing 5 minutes for each test. So you want to try like 3 different versions, and it's free. Yeah, stick them up. But if you're going to if you're actually going to hire a consultant and spend thousands of dollars, and your uplift is going to be worth, like, if it works, $400 a month to you or something, but you're not going to know if it works for 3 years. It's not a good idea, and that's what he's really getting at. So I don't think anyone should get put off with where there's free and easy ways they can quickly set up A/B tests. If it's costing you nothing, and you just want to see if you get lucky and knock one out the park, go for it. And definitely do it on Facebook, where you're definitely going to show your ad to enough traffic to get some results. But don't spend a shitload of money A/B testing if you haven't even got the other stuff right and you're not even a sizable business yet. It's just a waste of money. And it was great to see someone in the conversion space coming out and saying it, because they have the same problem the SEO industry has with all these charlatans wandering around ripping businesses off and pretending it's something they should be doing just because they want to get a sale. It was really cool to see one of the people who speaks a lot at conferences and is well known in their industry coming out and saying, no, look, this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing it. It's a waste of your time and money. Invest it elsewhere in your business, which is, we need more of that in all of the online marketing disciplines. So I think with all of us having a go at people, ripping people off on previous shows, it was kind of cool to have a positive article to share where someone was, being pretty legit. And I really like Pep. His content's pretty cool. So
if we use the 1,000 transactions as a benchmark, I mean, for guys like us, the answer is easy. If you're under 1,000 transactions, you better start sending more traffic and get that data, right? But what about a small business like you mentioned before?
Well, I don't really want 1,000 new link building customers a month. That'd be pretty fucking insane.
So what is a small business that can't even dream of getting to 1,000 transactions a month supposed to do to just eke up a little bit, a few more percentage points every month?
Well, just if you've got the $4,000 to spend it on more traffic.
Right.
Or just spend it on a regular web designer to make your site look less ugly.
I think Pep has some really...
Hire a good copywriter like Vin's team to make sure the stuff on your site actually... I mean, think about it. For a small business, what are they better off doing? Is giving $10,000 to a conversion rate optimizer, or just buying 20 pages of good copy at $80 a page from Vin?
Right.
I mean, the ROI is going to be there on having decent words on your page, guaranteed. $10,000.
At the end of his article, he makes some really good, old school, basic but very adequate tips. Talk to your customers that you already have, and sometimes you got to take the feedback you get from customers with a grain of salt. But what do they have to say? Would they recommend you to their friends based just off the website or something, or pull your website visitors? Really basic stuff that you see a lot of people turning away from for some reason, but they're just straight up asking, like, here's a $10 coupon if you just say, does this website look like shit?
Right.
Something.
Or point out one thing that you had a problem with in a transaction process.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to uncover shit that's really bothering people, but you don't even know exists.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good tip.
I mean, do you know when our website converted the most? We had a period when we put it up and it was just completely broken because it was a new brand. We'd stopped doing the PR stuff and we were going to switch to just advertising our main links product on there instead of PR. And it was just completely broken. You couldn't do anything on our website. None of the buttons worked. The shopping cart was gone. And Garrett and I were just getting bombarded on Skype constantly by people like, so I want to buy some links. Your website's all mongold up. I don't think I've ever had as many web inquiries as then. I mean, I wouldn't recommend you go and just completely smash the crap out of your... But it's really hard to predict what's going to work. I mean,
the concept for there is that you removed all options off the page, and all that was left is for them to contact you.
Yeah.
That happened by accident, which is funny, but I think we were talking about maybe a month or so ago. Was it Tony Robbins' site? And he's got or maybe I was reading an article about it, and he's got something like 40 plus call to actions on his homepage, and there's no content. All it is just those content strips on the whole page, the scrollers, and it's just call to action after call to action after call to action. And he's hugely successful because of it. That's one of the reasons why.
I think if people know who you are when they come to your page, you don't have to do anything. I mean, I think that's why I'm joking about that, but I think, everyone who came to our page knew who me and Garrett were. So the page wasn't to convert them. They were like, I'm just going to place my order now, and then like super frustrated. Whereas, now they,
right.
Although we still have one broken page on our site because our new site's not quite finished yet, but
maybe on another episode we'll look into some SEO conversion rate optimization stuff. Honestly, that's something I really don't know about. But I think the answer for that is really data. You need as much data as possible to do conversion optimization on the SEO side as you do like Facebook ads or landing pages or whatnot.
The biggest one in SEO is where you have your meta description and title, or just the title and text that Google chooses to pick, because it doesn't always pick what you've put in. When that disconnects with the first thing they see on the page. So, like, say you put all your services on one page, and there was a section about wasp removal. And so when someone searched for wasp removal New Jersey, your sites come up and they click on it, but it was the home page that had that copy on, and it just comes up to the top of your page, and your main specialism is termite removal. So there's like a bunch of termite stuff right at the top of the page. That's a massive problem in search disconnect. So that continuity between what they initially see on the search results and then the first thing they see when they click through is super important in SEO conversion optimization.
That's just basic on-site optimization issues. You using the proper title tags with the the keywords for the page.
Well, you say that, but people don't always look again afterwards. That's where you pick these things up in an audit. People don't realize that their WASP page is accidentally ranking for something else. People just are like, oh yeah, I see these pages are all ranking well for the keywords they're supposed to. But quite often you find, 15% where you actually need a new page for something because there's that disconnect, and you won't pick it up unless you specifically go looking for exactly that problem.
Yeah, you're talking about CTR through an organic, the organic search. I think SEO, CRO is really, the elements on page and making the conversion on the page while they're selling the product.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what they see after they click through. If they click, when there's a disconnect between what they see on the search results, I'm ignoring what you can change to make more people click through. I'm just saying when there's a disconnect between the two messaging,
you're already shooting yourself in the foot.
You've lost before you can do anything else on your page.
Right.
You have to make sure what you're ranking matches with what Google thinks it is and what the user wants to see as soon as they hit the page.
And there's tools out there that it doesn't optimizely do that for you. It's like a drag and drop where you can drag elements, and show different versions of the.
This is before you get to designing the page. This is a technical analysis. You're looking at. You're looking to identify pages that might be ranking for some stuff that would be suboptimal for them to show up for, and then building pages to replace them. And it most often happens with the home page. You're most in danger of if you offer if our homepage is all link building, we're launching a new reputation management product. If Google ranked our homepage for reputation management keywords, there would be a massive disconnect when those visitors landed, and we would have no conversions. And it happens a lot that Google ranks your homepage instead of the page you really want it to rank. So it's quite a big thing you need to work pretty hard on if your homepage is quite powerful.
Yeah, actually, one of the new sites I'm working on, I was just looking at today at the competitors. Actually, that's a huge problem with the competitors. None of them know how to get the proper page to rank for a specific keyword. So I'm going to let them be because I'm going to dominate them in about 6 months.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say, looking at some of our clients, that we try to talk them into building links to specific pages and interlinking them so those pages rank properly. And they refuse. They're stubborn. They get angry. No, I want all these links to the homepage. And what do you tell someone when, okay, well, you want to rank for this query, but there's nothing on the homepage about it? What's that person going to do? Insta-back, bounce, 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 bounce. And then you're just going to possibly, no one has any concrete data, but probably start dropping in the SERPs.
I would guesstimate that the reasoning of the client behind that is that they think that all the link juice will be disseminated easier throughout the website. But if you could just sell them on the idea of link bait, and it's kind of like a mini web page where you can disseminate all the link juice.
Well, it's like what do you do if you have a competitor that built 300 links to a product page, a very specific service page or something? Like, there's no way you're ever going to outrank that building links to the homepage unless you had 2 billion links like that were from the top.
And your site happens to be 20 years older than the competitor's site too. So.
It's like impossible.
Yeah, that's tough, man. We, as service providers, we all deal with our strong-headed clients.
Yeah, we're lucky in the position that we're not. Garrett's really kind of harking back to our days when we were consultants more than these days. We're a fulfillment company now. It's like, I guess, with yourself then, you give them some free tips if they want them, but if they don't want any free tips, you give them the words on the page that they want on the page, because that's what they're paid for. We give them what they want, we give them lots of free advice, but I think back in our consulting days it was more frustrating because
because you were evaluated on the performance.
They're paying
your pay is directly correlated to the results, and you haven't shot yourself in the foot, they've shot you, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to pick this bullet out of me while I explain to you what the fuck is going on.
That's a lot easier these days. Although, our clients are a lot more sophisticated now. Because the kind of people who just go out and buy a load of links, and they know they need a link bait, they know they need some links, they've already got the content in place. It's a lot easier than trying to explain to, with the best will in the world, a plumber or a pest control guy. They don't understand the basics, so they're like, well, I want all these homepage links because that's what I used to do 7 years ago and it worked. So, well, you've had three penguins and 2 pandas since then, buddy. You need to mix things up a little bit now,
And that is exactly why I don't do client work. I have a few clients, but they're mostly friends and family, so they'll listen to what I say.
We still have some lovely clients. Don't have any horrible ones anymore, which is nice. It's a much better place. I don't envy, I should say, the agencies that are our clients now, because they do some really hard work.
Yeah,
they earn every penny they make, and consulting fees, I'll say that for nothing. They earn every penny.
I bet.
For sure. Next in the news, we kind of got some stuff about what's the name of it? I already forgot.
W3C.
I want to call it like the W3 school, but I know it's not that. It's like the main
Worldwide
internet
Web
network.
The Worldwide Web Consortium.
Yeah.
Right. There it is.
The guy who's in charge of the internet.
Well, I think that's Google, really. I think they're giving themselves too much.
I guess there is like a lot of issues about there were some decisions made behind closed doors. Is that the gist of it?
The gist was the Electronic Freedom Foundation has resigned from the consortium because the big content brands wouldn't compromise on what the new web standards would be, and HTML5 was released without the mandatory DRM. So modern browsers will, presumably since they haven't resigned or left or whatever, modern browsers will come with DRM built in and things that control your computer built in and make them potential security vulnerabilities on your own computer in the interests of providing DRM support.
So why do they want DRM built into the browser?
Because that's how they distribute content now. Like if you're a TV company now, you distribute your shows through Netflix or whatever, you think that everyone steals everything online, and if only there was magic DRM, torrent sites would disappear. The same reason they. The same reason. What I was going to say. How are they going to? Remember when CDs were good, and you bought one, and you could put it into your computer, and you could copy it onto your MP3 player. and then they decided that they were going to break CDs. So, like the last CD I bought was Radiohead's Kid A, and I put it into my computer to pop it on my MP3 player, and it was all mongoed up, and there was just no way to make a computer CD player copy it. So to get the music that I legally purchased onto my MP3 player, I had to download it
Another
from online.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as a paying customer, I'm getting a shit service compared with people that are stealing this.
Right.
And that's just that. It's the same game just being repeated in browsers now, and that's why the EFF resigned. I think I agree with a guy on Reddit. I can't remember the name of the poster now, so apologies. But someone on Reddit had put, although they disagree, like what the EFF already doesn't have enough influence. I mean, Chrome and Firefox, and to a lesser extent, Edge and Safari have all the influence. They decide what actually gets implemented. The World Wide Web Consortium is a trade group which has some influence. If they resign from it, then the EFF has even less influence than they had before. What
I actually didn't know any of this, man. This is really interesting.
So who's left in the EFF? Like really for-profit businesses that are just pushing their own agenda, or?
Well, I mean, there's public interest groups. There's all sorts of people in. I mean, you'd have to look at the full list, but the main members are media companies in the World Wide Web Consortium, media companies, and the browser makers.
It just seems like a age-old problem of the more they tighten their grip, the more it slips through. And if they would just let it go, yeah. It just.
Well, if only, Garrett. If only.
Well, you think about it, like everyone who has Spotify doesn't download pirated music anymore. Like, if you've got Netflix, you're not like, oh, I'm going to pirate this show. You just watch it on Netflix.
Right.
Like, you just have to make better solutions than stolen. No one wants to steal anything.
Right.
And I will tell you straight up, back in the day, I was downloading this shit up. Usenet, BitTorrent, whatever. Ever since Spotify came along, I don't think I've done that once.
No,
because anything I could
it's
possibly
not worth. It's not even worth your time to go and torrent all this shit.
Right. Other than my buddy's local band from 2000 that I want to find his demo, his cassette in my backyard or something. Then maybe I'll download it from somewhere. But it's not worth it. Even with the movies and everything, I'd rather pay $3 to Xbox or Roku or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what's made it amazing now. You just
it's such a large mass scale too, where they're making more money even though it's at a lower price than you might have paid for a VHS or a DVD. You're just on your TV and you click, like Steve said, oh, $3. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'll pay $3, and so will 2 million other people.
And the thing is, they pretend it's money lost, but all people used to do. I don't know if you remember being a kid, but I mean, we weren't rich when I was a kid, and when we wanted to watch a new movie, we most of the time had to wait till it was a TV premiere on the network TV channels.
Right.
Yeah.
We didn't pay for it. It had to be ad supported, and if it had been available for $3 on Amazon Prime, damn right we had. They're not losing money. It's a new way to buy. People that had to wait before can afford the $3 now and then.
And I also feel like I paid my lion's share for music as well too, because back in the day when you're 11 years old and you want that Smashing Pumpkins CD that's like $25.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. Even back in 90s.
Yeah, I mean I had $25
worth of CDs. But
I remember looking at them when I was a student. It was $2,000 worth of CDs, and I was like, I should have just burnt that freaking money. Nothing even plays any of this shit anymore. Who has a CD player now?
Well, you're gonna laugh at me then, because I've gotten a little nostalgic in my old age of 27, and I have a big shopping list of all these CDs. Like all the CDs I bought when I was a kid, I obviously don't have them anymore, and I don't know why. I want them again. I want the album artwork. There's even some. I've never even owned a record player, but there's some vinyls that I want just for the artwork. I think looks cool. I don't know if I'll actually ever use them. I just want them for some reason. But
yeah, I think I sold all my CDs to like some online website that like paid pennies per CD. But it was when I was bootstrapping my my business.
Yeah.
So I needed the cash, and I wasn't losing it. So
I think mine mostly rusted in the garage. I think they weren't worth anything to the charity shop. When you
I do have a shoebox up on my shelf. I should go see what's actually in there. I might be embarrassed to do it live.
Yeah, let's not do that live. random Garrett shoebox sounds like a whole different show.
Yeah, but I think you're right. Whoever said it before, that they should just let it go and figure out a new solution.
Yeah.
This kind of thing seems like it's something that will just work itself out. Because
and like one of the things that really annoys me is with DRM is it literally is the same thing that it was before, the breaking of things that you've paid for. Like I tried to watch I bought the Grand Prix on Now TV, and my desktop won't play it suddenly. Like it's always worked on there before. I go to put it on in HD and watch it.
Yeah.
It won't play. So then I've got to watch it on my Surface because it's the only thing that'll play it. Like I'm getting DRM errors on the desktop. Oh, your sound device isn't confirming it's DRM secure.
And also
like, who the hell wants to listen to audio of the race anyway, for God's sake? But everything's got to be locked down or they won't let you play it. And then like
that's interesting to me. Can you imagine the fucking, as if we don't have enough driver incapabilities now as it is. Can you imagine what that's going to bring into it if a driver isn't digitally sound for this producer's file
I mean,
format?
This is Silverlight. Silverlight has full access to the operating system, and it's still having trouble verifying that this isn't some dodgy sound card, and it's just an off-the-shelf HP machine I've got, like a totally mainstream one. Imagine how difficult how's the browser going to behave itself perfectly when it's managing the DRM instead of Silverlight?
And how quickly do you think there'll be a program that shows up that emulates ownership? And all you have to do is run the program, and then all of a sudden, then you have your content. So
it just punishes legitimate users. It punishes me on a Sunday afternoon when I'm trying to watch the motor race, and the hardcore pirates. They're just on the stream already watching it. They don't give a shit about the DRM or that I'm struggling, messing around, trying to find where I put my laptop so that I can quickly get it. They don't give a flying fuck. They're watching it happily. I mean,
it's got to be a game of numbers for the content producers, and they're just figuring there's got to be enough people that want to do it the correct way that it's going to be worth it for them to put those gateways in place.
Well, there's enough people that want to do it the right way that aren't even thinking about pirating it because they want the quality stream. They want it. They don't want to steal something for the sake of saving $3. I mean, a lot of people do think that way. I mean, I think it's the majority these days, probably. I mean, like when we were kids, properly.
Yeah.
Your CD wouldn't even play in your computer, and that was the only CD player you had. You were like, well, I want to listen to my CD, so what am I going to do? But now, like you say, with Spotify and everything, you got better things to do. People with jobs want to spend their money on things that they enjoy, and they should really be just thinking about how to make it easier for us to enjoy the shit that we want to pay for. Just take my money and make it fun. Like, the person who wants to steal it's going to find a way. Like they'll steal it through hardware. Like it's got to end up on the screen at some point anyway, and they're coming out with all this fancy technology to stop that. It's impossible.
The music publishing houses, they have to have seen an uptick in revenue since Spotify.
Oh yeah,
they had to have. So I mean,
they've seen an uptick since compared to the complete collapse of their industry, which was threatening to happen when Napster first came out and stuff. And the same with Netflix. They're going to spend. I think they're going to spend for the first time more than the other, or at least the same. I can't remember whether it was more or the same. But as the big network TV channels were on original content, they're now going to be one of the bigger original content producers. Now you're trying to tell me that money isn't coming. There's not more money when that's happened. A new network's been created.
Exactly.
Making original content.
And the actual networks are scared shitless. I mean, at my new house, I don't have cable anymore. I just use internet TV. Yeah. But before I moved, like all of Verizon's advertisements were like, "We have it before Netflix. See it before it's on Hulu." Yeah. It's like when you start advertising that kind of shit, you're in trouble, man.
Yeah, we're thinking about cutting the cable off for the first time because.
Dude, Sling TV plus Netflix. It's cheaper.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, so what is Sling? Because I don't pay for cable. We use the Amazon stick, and then I have Netflix on that, and then through the internet company, we live out in the middle of nowhere, so even we can't get like antenna TV even for the news, so I pay like 20 bucks a month. 20 bucks a month to get that.
That's exactly what Sling is for, man. It's through your internet connection, but it's live television. So you get access to all your local networks, and then you get like some of the big, I guess, cable networks like AMC and TBS and USA and all that kind of stuff. And then you can choose a few premium channels for an additional fee. Like every premium channel is like $5 extra. So it's usually like 30 bucks plus however many premium channels you want.
Yeah, because I was looking, and Megan and the 9-year-old, and I guess when the baby gets older, they all want TV. And I looked at our cable provider, or the fiber provider. They have TV, and it's like I already pay $130 a month for the internet plus the 20 bucks for the really basic TV, and then like to get the basic cable channels is another 100. And then like, if you want to add in like the channels I actually watch, like AMC and that shit, it's another 50. And it's just like ridiculous.
You definitely need the high-speed internet because otherwise you're gonna have some major lag with the live stream.
Yeah.
But I'm paying about $20 less than if I bought all my services through the cable company.
Okay.
So and that includes.
We're on the minimum package now. We just have the cable for just the network channels and stuff, so that we don't have to have an aerial. So I think we're down to like $20 a month now or something.
Yeah. So you got like what I got.
Yeah, we've cut it right down to the minimum. But we're looking at dropping it because we have a similar thing. I didn't know the one Vin was talking about, but there's like TV Catch Up over here and a couple of competitors that do the same thing.
Yeah.
They just show the main network channels, and then everything else you can buy. Like you want the sport, you just pay like $7.99 or whatever. You get the weekend of sport.
Right. I don't know why cable companies aren't offering a package like that too. They're probably
you think they would have seen this and started adjusting like. Okay, just a la carte. Just you want this, $10. You want this, 15, whatever.
That's who one of the big providers is over here. It's Now TV, but they're really careful to call it a different name. It's like when airlines make a budget airline, and it's like owned by BA, but they want to Go Airline. Yeah, they've been really careful not to, tarnish the Sky brand with it. But it's basically just pay as you go Sky.
Yeah.
And you can just pay monthly as well on it, but again, it's no contracts, whereas Sky has the contract and stuff like that. So it's they're aware of it. It is coming. The big cable companies will offer internet-only TV packages in everywhere.
It's got to go that way. Right now, we have to. If I wanted cable in my house, I would still have to have the coax cable ran from the street.
Yeah.
And then pay like a fee for that too, on top of which, and it's not a cheap fee.
Yeah, line rental. Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? Line rental.
Right. Exactly.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I'm all upset because I got fiber run to my house, which is pretty cool being where I'm at, and I'm like, so I have 200. I had 200 down through the cable company, and when I signed up for fiber, I'm like, yeah. So what do you got close to that? And the guy's like 75. I'm like, oh, that's not fast enough. And he's like, how about 100? Nope. I'm like, I have 200 down right now. I need at least 200 down at 50 up. He's like, I mean, I can do 125. And I'm like, dude, this is a fiber line. You have gigabit service, right? And he's like, yeah, but you live in this weird neighborhood where it's all old people, and none of you guys need fiber, like true fiber service. So we really don't like to sell it to people. And I'm like, and he came to my house to give me the estimate to have it hooked up and everything. And I'm like, I mean, I'm willing to pay for it, and so are the neighbors apparently. And I can't imagine they're throttling the bandwidth that hard. And it shouldn't even matter, because even if they're not using it, it's not like they're using up the bandwidth. So like, I have 125 down, which it's fine, I guess. It's except I'm moving like server files, but
I've moved deeper into the village, so I'm lucky to get like 50 down now. So.
Really? Well,
yeah.
How is your entire country not on like fiber? You're not even the size of the state of Minnesota.
It is on fiber. They just haven't laid enough of it, so it's like you're all on one like narrow.
It's like your country is like half the size of the state of Minnesota.
Oh, I mean, if I move literally 2 miles closer to the town, I'll be back up to 150. I'm literally 2 miles too far into the village.
I don't know.
It's pretty bad. I don't really notice, though, to be honest. I mean, like, we have the TV streaming in HD. I'm watching HD upstairs, downloading some shit to watch later. Like, everything seems to...
Yeah.
I like 50. It seems to be, like, pretty
I've
manageable.
got, what do I have? I paid for, I think, 100 down, 100 up. It's $80.
Yeah.
But Variety in my neighborhood, they have the gigabit. It's $87. I just haven't upgraded yet. I just have to do it. All I have to do is make a phone call, and I get like 900 more megabits per second. So
well, so does your computer? Do you have the new network cards that actually support it?
I
don't think.
I built this computer in January, so
I don't think any of the newer motherboards actually support.
Well, you don't need. It's not for individual users that you're most worried. It's like when you've got a house where everyone's ripping hard.
yeah.
Right. I mean, like, even if your computer can only support like the 750, that's pretty standard. Plenty fast. But then use like perfectionist.
But it's not going to get shot. It's not going to crash if it gets hit with.
No, it'll still work. You'll just be like capped at like 750.
Oh,
which is
plenty. God forbid.
Yeah, plenty fucking fast. Unless you're watching a lot of porn or something.
Well, even then, I mean, how many different computers do you need to watch it on at the exact same time, Garrett? I mean,
well, I mean, if you had like 3 32-inch monitors and like a video on each, like 9 tiles.
Just 6 tiles.
Then you might have to crunch the numbers.
Yeah, at most,
that's like a new fetish. Watching, like, it's not just enough to have a choice of every position on PornTube. You need to watch every position at once.
You heard it first here. This is going to be the next epidemic. People just surrounded.
Surround porn.
Speaking of porn,
I'm learning more about you guys every day. This is awesome.
Speaking of porn,
I'm gonna bet $1 Canadian that Garrett has never watched 9 porn streams at once. I guarantee he's never done that.
Just 7.
Just 7.
No, I know that's a lie because you would never do an odd number.
Oh, you're one of those, buddy.
I know that's not true.
Lucky number 24.
My girlfriend, my fiance's lucky number's 4, I think.
I'm 24.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be doing some roulette. 24. Anyways,
4 never comes up at roulette. Always do number 24.
I always hit 24.
At number 5, luckiest number in the world.
So YouTube's been launching some new services rather stealthily because I hadn't heard about it in the news up until last week. But let's say you're a small business and want to run some ads on YouTube. If you guarantee to spend $150, which is not a lot, they'll send some sort of half-assed professional out to your location and take some pictures, do a little video, whatever, so you can promote your business. Even if it's just to save the video, $150 in ad spend. What would it cost to send out a professional video crew?
That is what. Well, obviously that's a loss later for them just to get you in the door.
Mm-hmm.
But that is what Yelp does. Yelp, okay. They send somebody out to take pictures of the business for your Yelp profile when you're an advertiser with them. And then you can also upgrade for $750. You can get a custom-made commercial for your business that goes on the Yelp page, and you can also use it on your website as well. So that kind of sounds like, to me, like almost direct competition with what the local Yelp advertising is doing.
I think it's smart for them because they'll have seen for a while the local lead gen professionals, the people who sell the leads eventually to a small business, are killing it on YouTube. So it makes sense for them to try and, the same way as Google is with the pay-per-click ads we talked about on a previous show where they're selling the local lead gen. It makes a lot of sense. If local lead gen is a big money spinner for everyone, why the hell wouldn't they try and cut the middlemen out? You know, people were doing it on the map pack. People were doing it with local lead gen sites and the organic SERPs. Google's like, nah, just come on, those guys are charging you $50 a lead. We'll sell them to you for $40. Just come straight to Google, and it's the same on YouTube. Why it's hugely smart for them just to cut middlemen out, because then they get to keep all the money. If local businesses have an average of $500 a month to spend, and if a middleman takes that $500 and spends $350 on Google to get it, it's obviously better for Google to squeeze out the middleman and keep the $500. And presumably a lot of the time, and we've spoken about it many times with the scammers in our industry, presumably a lot of the time they're safer spending it with Google as well. I mean, that's sad but true, because they shouldn't be. You shouldn't be safer spending it with big corporations. A local expert helping you should be a better service, but it's not a lot of the time. Yeah. Which is sad.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't really get converted on YouTube that much. Usually it's like with guitar equipment and stuff, like when I'm checking out like gear reviews and stuff, and I see the ad in the sidebar, I might click that and make a purchase.
You haven't bought 47 of Ty Lopez's courses.
No,
here in my garage.
No, dude, I don't watch like YouTube channels or anything like that. I think that's a younger man's
I like to watch YouTube. Or
am I like 16 or something? Like
no, do you watch? I don't know.
I like to watch music videos.
I'm all about the H3H3 production.
I don't watch any of that shit. You're a gimmick. You're a perfect mark.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. H3H3 Productions is
I'm just kidding. But I like to watch music videos on YouTube, and the ads I get, obviously they can tell what I'm doing outside of YouTube, but it's always, who's the new guy? Every week it's a new guy selling me ads for, give me 30 seconds of your time and I'll make you rich. It's the same ad.
Oh no, that's not them tracking you. That's just all the people that spend money on YouTube advertising.
It has.
That's just all there is. Like when I first got this tablet, so no history at all. It's got no Google on it because it's an Amazon tablet. I'm signed into nothing. I go to YouTube on the train, so I'm not even using it the first time I got hold of this at home. So I'm on some random train IP address. First ad I saw was the guy that's like skiing in the mountains. Do you want to live this lifestyle? So I was like, oh, seriously, I need to get an ad blocker for this bad boy.
Yeah.
It's some guy. Both of them are in their house. Like, I don't want to say Keanu. It's like
the one where he takes his Lamborghini.
No, they always stay in their house, and you can tell. It's worse than Ty Lopez. Like, you can tell that they're just renting these houses by the hour. Like, doing a walkthrough. Like, hey, man, welcome to my fucking sweet house. And I know you don't got a lot of time, so don't click skip. And it's like, skip.
They actually want you to click skip because
dude, when I was a fledgling digital marketer, that kind of shit, through me, but it's just a matter of seeing it enough times and you get the banner blindness, so to speak. But
I mean, I still buy 3 courses a month.
No, you do not.
Well, like the first couple times, I'm like, all right, maybe I just want to see what the hell this guy's selling. And so it's like you watch like 3 minutes of the 20-minute ad, and after that, it's like, all right, well, okay, I just know what he's up to. But after a while, wouldn't you think that Google's ad serving platform would be like, Garrett has skipped this ad 1,000 times. He is never going to watch it.
The thing is, Garrett,
if there's no other ad to show you, then they show it.
There's that, and also you're not the market. I'm sure that ad is converting like gangbusters for people they're actually targeting.
Ty Lopez spent $1 million, and he didn't spend $1 million on that in my garage ad losing money. Yeah. Like if the first 100,000 didn't go too well, he would have stopped. I mean, whatever you say about him, he spent $1 million on that ad when it first ran. I mean, it was a clever ad and it worked really well. And the fact that it's still a meme and it's still all this time later, comedy YouTubers still rip on that ad and do their own kind of mick takes on it and stuff. That's how everyone had seen it. And for just $1 million, everyone had seen Ty Lopez. No one doesn't know who he is that's ever been on YouTube. I mean, literally no one. Imagine trying to become famous for $1 million before YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, $1 million makes you famous. It's never going to happen. Now, well, I mean, you could if you were really clever and came up with something totally crazy, but you couldn't just make an ad and spend $1 million and be famous.
What did those kids sell YouTube to Google for? Well,
not enough.
$1 million.
Not enough.
$1 million?
Yep. I
What is
think it might have been less.
I think they ran out of money. It still loses money. They still don't make money.
Yeah, it was back around 2007, I think, before I went to school. Went to college. They had sold it. There was a couple of college kids from like Illinois State or something, like, or maybe like University of Illinois.
I'm just waiting for the YouTube TV package to come out. I don't know why that has not been.
Well, they have YouTube Red. They were going to make their own shows and stuff, but
that's right. Yeah,
their feature show featuring PewDiePie and Disney went kind of south when PewDiePie.
How much did they want to charge for that? Because I remember getting offered it, and I thought it was a little steep for YouTube.
YouTube Red just did not interest me at all. There's
I think
nothing
it was
about it.
I think it wasn't really only that much.
I think it was really low. But then why would you pay it? Like the ads aren't like super annoying, even if you don't have an ad blocker on. Like Garrett says, you just hit skip and.
It just seemed like they jumped on the bandwagon. That's right when Hulu went premium or pay only, and Amazon just came out with the Prime Video and all that stuff, and then YouTube Red just appeared out of nowhere.
Google's basically just not very good at doing anything other than search advertising. I mean, everything else they try, like their social networks don't work out. Their video platform, like Facebook.
I don't know what it is either. It's just like it's half-assed all.
Well, they're an advertising company. I mean. If you're like an advertising company and you try and do everything else, it's like, oh, we're going to be a TV network now. We're going to be a self-driving car company. We're going to be a medical company. You might be able to do some of those things.
Do you think I
would still bet on YouTube becoming
profitable. It was purely because Sergey and the other guy's name, Larry, were actually good at search, and they found a perfect way to monetize it. And they just in the right spot in the right time. And I don't blame them for obviously sticking their money into their stuff. Why not? But it's just like a lack of direction. I don't know Google's corporate.
Facebook's a lot more single-minded in its focus.
Right.
Like their acquisitions are other big social networks. Like they tried to buy Snap. They bought Instagram.
Yeah.
They bought they bought WhatsApp.
They just they're a user data, repository.
Yeah. Well, they're a social ads company, and they want to become more like a media platform, and they're single-mindedly pursuing that. Google is, 87% of their money still comes from search ads or something. I think that was on Search Engine Land recently. I'm sure that's the right number. They haven't succeeded at social. They haven't. Email's the only other thing they've done well, but it's not exactly. Moving into the future, is it? With technology.
Yeah.
If you want to be a TV company, you got to make shows. That's what made Netflix. They made some shows that people wanted to watch.
Yeah,
and then
you're right. Actually, I wasn't a Netflix fan until they started coming out with their original content.
Yeah,
they got me with when they did the Arrested Development kind of finish. I never finished, and then. It's kind of annoying when shows that are like super popular get axed before they're finished.
Yeah.
It's like at least finish the season, and they act.
Right.
When they did that remake, it's like, oh, that's super cool. They got all the actors back. And
did they get the Community? Did you guys watch Community?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay, I don't know if that was on Netflix.
That might be on Hulu, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. Netflix does the Full House remake, or the Fuller House, they call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, both of those, Arrested Development and Fuller House, were awful. God awful.
Yeah.
But some of their other stuff is pretty good. Like American Vandal, which I just watched. It's hilarious.
I remember I first got Netflix probably 6 years ago, and like within the first 3 months, Netflix used to be so outdated. Everyone has their own taste. You could watch your taste of movies and shit within like a month. Like everything was so old and stale, and I canceled it for probably a couple of years. And all of a sudden, I wanted to rewatch Mad Men or something, so I paid the $10. But then it's like, okay, we got our own shit, so I started watching like Lilyhammer and other weird shit, and like it just kept going. And it's amazing how I don't know if Netflix are they profitable yet after their recent like 5-year binge, but I can see them being profitable
They're planning to spend as much as the big networks on original content. So even if they're not profitable, it's purely because of spending on more original content and growing. They could cash cow themselves now and be hugely profitable. But the future is in becoming the network online, and everyone else online being behind them, because the old networks are going to die, like we spoke about already, or become online networks. So Netflix can be the leader of the new world, and obviously making profits is like Amazon. Making profits is pretty boring compared with being the only online retailer, which is their kind of, and they've achieved it. I mean, what is it now? Like 47% of shopping searches, people don't even go to a search engine; they just start on Amazon.
Yeah.
And if the price on Amazon isn't too bad, they just hit buy now with Prime and get it the next day, or the same day in some cities. They're achieving what they wanted to achieve. It's being the only shop, and I think Netflix's plan is similar. Keep making more content, bully the content producers that aren't Netflix shows to make sure they get the best access they can. The others will have to join them, and they'll be behind because people are cutting the cord.
Right.
As a user, it's getting older.
As a user, the only issue I have with Netflix is that they don't release new content fast enough. Because I don't watch everything on there. Right. So there's a select group of shows that I like.
Yep.
And I might binge watch a season of something in a weekend on like a rainy weekend or something.
Yeah.
And then I won't have anything new to watch for another month or so.
Yeah. So just keep watching Mad Men over there.
Yeah.
I actually started rewatching that last night, so I'm gonna get all.
I'm gonna start that.
Get
up
all
again
60s
tomorrow.
in next week's show.
That's what I end up doing. I end up rewatching old shit, and then I like hit myself because that's a waste of time.
Well, it's not a waste of time with Mad Men. It's like if you run an advertising agency, everything Bert Cooper says is like magic gold dust.
Well, that's the thing. Also, like I'll put like a series on while I'm working, and I mean 3 days it's already over, and I've been all hyped up about it. And now what? Is there anything new that I want to watch? They do a good job of staggering shit, but it's like it never lines up what I actually want to watch.
The thing is, though, you think back to the old days, you used to have like 3 shows you liked, and you would get 1 episode a week. So every week you'd be lucky if there was 3 hours of television to watch. I mean, it's unrealistic. It's unrealistic for $10 to expect that they would keep you entertained for the entire week. I mean, what can you spend $10 on entertainment-wise that'll keep you entertained for more than 20 minutes?
Well, it's I mean,
one old fashioned in Vegas is $26. I mean, it's like
it's the need for instant gratification. On the cable networks, you might only get a new episode of your show once a week, but you can just change the channel and get a new episode of another show, on a different network. Whereas here, you're literally you're getting the gratification in binge watching, 12 episodes over a weekend, but then you're going dry for however long. So
you guys watch too much TV. That's all I'm taking out of this.
I don't watch that much. I watch TV.
I watch like 3 hours a week or something. You guys need to watch more online seminars and internet marketing gurus teaching you their shares.
Yeah.
I always get excited when Garrett rewatches Mad Men. Every time he has a Mad Men rewatch, we make shitloads of money. He becomes like some kind of account god or something, and just all this new business comes out of nowhere when he's.
Is that the reason you hate Jaguar because of Mad Men?
No, but
people hate Jaguar because it always breaks down.
I didn't know if you hated Jaguar. I was just taking a guess there.
Oh no,
they're all Fords now anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was gonna say.
It's just
another reliable.
Yeah.
Now they're actually good. If you buy the Jaguar Mondeo type, it's a pretty reliable car.
Mondeo. I could go on for cars. Anyways, we were talking before the show. Google update on the 16th, around there somewhere. I didn't notice anything really checking up, but we also don't have a lot of rankings to check up on. Vin said he noticed like the typical disappear into the dark void of the universe.
Yeah. What are all these trackers called? They're called volatility trackers, or it looks to be a little bit more severe, or that the spike looks to be a little bit higher than the updates we saw over the past couple of weeks. But all I've seen really is like a keyword that's been ranking like consistently forever. It just dropped off the face of the map for 3 days, and then it shows up again like 2 spots higher.
So it has to make you wonder, like, let's say Panda's working in total real time, Penguin works in total real time. If that's true, wouldn't you expect to see less average volatility?
I don't think that's what they mean by real time for a start.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, so I agree with what you're implying.
Yeah. So you see, but a lot of people still say, well, it's in real time. It's constantly doing this shit.
Well, it took them 18 months to recalculate it once. I'm pretty sure I mean, it's huge. The amount of data they've got, it's not even in one place. I mean, obviously it's not.
That's the thing. The ranking you can see from the East Coast to Central United States to the West Coast can change not often, but sometimes rather significantly between data centers even.
Actually, even more local than that now.
Really?
One of my site partners is like a half hour away by car, and he's on a different server at this point than I am.
Really?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really kicking her down into. Okay.
Yeah, well, it makes sense for them. I mean, they have to cache results and they have to cache things because there's so much data. I mean, you can't be freshly recalculating every query if you've already got good cache data for that from 3 hours ago or for 2 days ago in the same area. I mean, it's not real time in the sense that the stock market's real time, and a tick is literally a tick. I mean,
so how do you think it's working? Do you think, because obviously a large group of people were affected in some way or another?
I think I always say the same.
Did
I think
it just happen all at once? It can't, based off of your premise. It's like that information was kind of saved, and then all of a sudden someone just looks at it and says, yes, green check mark, do it.
Well, remember when the big updates rolled out, and Barry would pick up the first noise 7 days before Google announced that was the day the rollout had completed.
Yeah.
So the big rollouts took several days, and I think real time is just the same. Like, if they tweak something, it'll reverberate through the system for a period of time before it settles down because there's just a huge amount of data. So it's just a matter
of processing power and crawling availability.
Yeah, well, some of their updates required recrawling. I remember Penguin originally. They said, when we make a Penguin update, you'll see the links reevaluated when we recrawl it. So Penguin itself might be real time now, but it's still going to be affected by when the sites that you want to be recrawled eventually get recrawled. Like if you go and disavow everything, all of your links say.
It's just a matter of
it's going to be when when Google recalculates all of that isn't going to be you put that disavow file in and you just immediately disappear from the search results. I mean, it's clearly not that kind of real time, but it's real time in the sense that they mean it, where there's not an engineer. Like in the old days, there was an engineer sat there, they would test it for a couple of weeks, and then someone pushed a button and something happened. Now it's done to them. I mean, and Gary said that in one of his recent Q&As. I think it was the Brighton SEO one, and we think we've got that later on the show. But so I don't say anything else from it. Just this point, they're done and dusted with Penguin. They think it works. They feed it new data, and it continues now.
Yeah,
it's done and dusted to them. There's no.
I mean, Penguin's really going back to 2012 now. So we've had it around for quite a long time, but originally it was, it wouldn't update for 6 months. So you had these huge gaps in updates where you could basically get away with anything you could possibly want to do.
Or never come back if you just got caught.
I guess my argument is, regardless if it's real time or not, and I know it takes time to propagate data across huge amounts of data and moving across data centers. It always seems to happen all at once. Relatively confined amounts of time versus...
Yeah, I'd say real time in this instance is really over the course of like a week. Where these changes shake out.
So if it's going over a week, why aren't we seeing volatility across the entire world's volatility charts?
Well, there's no evidence these...
that's a good point, dude. That's a really
an entire week of volatility. You would expect it to be like... Not saying it rolls from time zone to time zone to time zone.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you expect to see like a bam, 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 bam for like 5 days of rolling out if it was an issue of propagating data across data servers. Like,
well, maybe it's the type of thing where we see the results on the 16th, but that was something that took place.
Yeah, so that's what I was curious about.
Yeah.
Are they kind of like storing up a huge cache? I don't have a good word for it. I guess a cache is only word.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, here we go. And I'm not saying it's like bad, but it's interesting to me to look at.
Whatever they do is going to have that kind of behavior. I mean, there's no evidence any of this is Penguin, and there's no evidence that any of these changes are anything to do with a real-time update. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
They make hundreds of updates every month, maybe more probably. Some of them are going to show up as big on these tracking tools. And Gary's favorite's Mozcast for whatever reason. I mean, I guess that's the one everyone looks at. I mean, I quite like the SERPWU one because it's tailored to your industry. So if you have just your kind of industry keywords in SERPWU, it's super handy to just see how they were affected. Like if you were in the payday loans industry, when they did a manual update to the payday loans rankings in the UK, you wouldn't give a shit that Mozcast was 64 Fahrenheit that day in a nice cool day. Like you all just got wiped out. Yeah. So, the SERPWU data for that would have been much more useful. So I really like SERPWU for the, you look at what you want to look at on there in terms of volatility. But I think people just get too caught up on this. I know I say it every time, but people are obsessed with just nonsense. Yeah. Google changes stuff all the time. Your rankings are going to move around all the time. If you're doing shit, you're doing shit. So don't be surprised when things go a bit bad eventually and don't go as well as people who are doing more than you. And if you have a page of crap content that's ranked number 3 forever for some keyword, it doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
So when Google figures out where you do belong, don't be surprised. I mean, if there's a good page at number 4 that's much, much, much more useful to the readers and to web visitors or whatever, for whatever purpose the page serves, Google's whole game is to figure that out and to put you behind them.
Yeah.
This whole obsession with macro pictures, you're just looking at yourself and what you're doing. Are you doing quality work? Are you doing something that's worthwhile? Are you giving value to your users? Are you promoting your website as well as you can, getting as much traction and as much exposure and as much coverage and links and stuff from other websites in your niche and people that should be interested in the content you're putting out there as you possibly can? And if you're doing that, you're doing all you can do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, my sites, guys, both of you do. Most of my shit's all white hat. I don't really do anything shady anymore. And we've had an update once a week for the past 2 months, pretty much, one of these volatility spikes.
Yeah. Where the temperature's up a bit on the old
my traffic is just increasing and hasn't even dipped once, So with all these shakeups, I'm still on the, I'm still growing.
You'll have one where you lose 20% sometime over the next 2 years, like guaranteed. I mean,
yeah, but that's gonna be like one of the big shakeups where they're really changing that core algorithm thing. But
it'll be something like, I remember there was the one where they did the medical sites one, and that affected like all the online pharmacies and stuff, and so medical authority was taken more seriously for a while, and suddenly if your links weren't from more medical sites, there was loads of stuff they put into it to try and clean that SERPs up. So yeah, they do some pretty broad changes, but there will be one update that hits you at some point. You won't always just keep moving in one direction, but you just got to look at the average over time, just keep working. I think people, they panic attack stop all the time on those 20% bumps, like, oh shit, everything I've been doing must be bad. But if you answered yes to all of the questions I just reeled off and you're doing good shit, you just had a 20% downtick, because you've had like 19 months of growth.
Right.
And
it's likely, if that's the case, for that kind of change, your competitors are having a downtick as well too.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Like, say you're in a niche where there's a lot of press coverage for the niche generally, and over time, 5 really big competitors of yours are picking up a lot of press coverage, because Google looks at the way an industry works as a whole. I mean, people have tested it and looked at this quite extensively. But the most interesting reports, if you guys want to read, if you just Google for UK travel SERPs report, there's I can't remember who puts it out now, but every year, sorry, my Windows is trying to do a major update. I didn't figure this was a good time. Every year they bring out a major UK travel industry search. I mean, Garrett might bother to dig it up for you guys, but so deep on what's going on with that particular industry. So Google looks a lot at the what's typical in an industry, and so say someone's getting a load of press coverage and the big 5 sites are and you're not, there might be an update or a recalibration where suddenly you take a 20% drop and then your growth resumes. You haven't been penalized, you're just underweight on a metric that Google's decided, oh, this metric looks like important in the industry.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm not worried about it. It's just.
I wasn't saying you were. I just meant all of Barry's readers and all these people that go completely insane. It's like there's adjustments all the time, and sometimes you just won't have got the mix right. Now you might want to learn from that. Right, I need to do some charity work and get some press coverage, and I'm sure that's something both you and I, with our side projects, will get into. Doing some legit charity things that get press coverage, and not just press coverage, but because it's actually good for the brand long term as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what when everybody was building scholarship links.
I didn't mean that kind of bullshit.
When that first started, that was like a legitimate PR move almost, but not in the way that you do it, but. If you provide value to a young kid and you're really giving some kid $1,000 for his, his college or whatever, there's something to that more than just.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think, Garrett and I chatted about this actually while he was back at college and doing the race team. Like, if an engineering company sponsored his race team, like if Ford sponsored it or something, Ford isn't buying a link. But if Drug Treatment Utah sponsored the team, they're like, oh yeah, don't put us on the car, just
give us a link. Yeah,
it's a whole different game. It's like that.
I actually did that. I asked for nothing but the link for a few sponsored page opportunities.
Yeah,
and it made me lots of money. But
I just thought of an additional don't tweet this, so I'm gonna save that one. If I forget and I don't tweet this,
wait, no, you can do 2 today because I have no.
Okay. So Ben, when it comes to your don't tweet this, remind me I need to do one about the scholarship sponsorship stuff.
You got it.
It's not quite exactly that, but it's pretty similar.
You got it, buddy.
Cool.
So bottom line, we don't have anything to worry about this recent update.
No, it's always the same shit every day.
Yep. So what else we got there?
If you want Ben up with some consulting work. He's super chill at the minute. He needs he's got like 40 hours every weekend he wastes watching Netflix. So if you want to take some of that time.
I have a girlfriend too, man. I got to put in some boyfriend girlfriend time.
Yeah, I haven't been very good at that lately, apparently.
Just to remind you, Garrett, we are live.
Yeah. I can feel the force choke from upstairs. Anyways, there's been a new proposition that there should be a security.txt file on your server similar to a robots.txt file, but in the sense that if someone comes to your site and notices, like, I went to one of your shopping cart pages and all of a sudden there's an issue and I'm a good person, I want to tell you about it. Like, you'd have to be a technical person to look for this file, obviously, but how do I get in talk to the real site owner? Is there an email address or a phone number? Like, for whatever reason, this page is just broken to fuck. I just injected 3,000 lines into your database, and I stole your customers' data, but I'm just gonna let you know. And probably a good idea, I guess. I can see a lot of people not using it because we already hide behind whois information. We use private registrar, extra $5 a year or whatever. And
I'm gonna add it to some of our sites because we still haven't, with the best will in the world, migrated away from WordPress across the board yet.
Is the security text file going to be publicly visible? So can anybody
it's to tell people.
It's just your contact name, email, phone. If you want to use PPG PPG to encrypt, that'd probably be good.
It's not just a list of all the security issues on the site.
But it's gonna expand to include additional things. Like they decided to keep it super simple for launch, but it's going to expand to things like this site shouldn't allow this type of access. So if you manage to access the site using some, cross-site scripting that wasn't allowed, or like obviously, an API would allow access from, any client. Like an API that was used for mobile clients will allow access from any mobile phone or whatever. But if you had a private company API that wasn't supposed to be accessed anywhere, you could put your security.txt up there, and the fact that someone could read your security.txt might be a concern in that instance. But then, so if someone is reading it and they have managed to access your API, they can report it to you if they're a security researcher. And I guess it's gonna. I would be surprised if big companies don't start putting their bounty programs in there. And I think it's something that's going to expand a lot the way robots.txt has. From just allow, disallow, it's going to add a lot more features. So I think I'm going to support it out of the door and just start slapping it up on a few sites and just follow along.
I'll have to read more about it.
I think it's a good idea.
To me, it jumps out that it's a giant. I guess it's open for problems. For people abusing it. So it's got to be done, even if it's just your contact information.
Well, I mean, you can have a box. There's a security box. The problem is, one guy on Reddit did say, and again, I've been really slack this week on. I normally screenshot all the Reddit comments and things like that I look at. But one guy was saying, it's just going to be super easy to scrape and then email everyone. Like if you're selling a product to security professionals, you can just email everyone in a security.txt file. How much spam are you gonna have to filter through to get to the one?
That's what my point is. We already hide behind not using our names on domain registrations.
Like, why are we gonna open it up to?
And I get the theory that it's good to help everybody out, but how many people in practice? I could give a fuck less if someone hacks me versus getting 3,000 proposals for Indian SEO today. Because that's what happens when you sign up for a new domain. And it still happens for months to come.
Yeah,
that is true. I don't know. I'm being naively optimistic. I'm going to give it a go.
If there is a way, I saw that they're going to support PPG. They're going to support PPG encryption, which means you don't actually have to publicly display that information.
Yeah.
Someone can reach out to you with an encryption code. And that takes like a lot of effort to actually sit down.
Yeah, but then you're discouraging people from actually using it for the intended purpose.
So then you got down that side of the scale too. Like, okay, this is like not even worth my time to tell this guy that he's fucked up.
Right. So it's like,
I think though on most sites your security vulnerabilities are going to be ones that a security researcher would only be able to find, and they'll be able to contact you. Like, I mean, if something
way above our heads.
Yeah, like if some random dude can tell you what's wrong, you probably have bigger problems than...
Right.
Like if someone can see there's a problem. I mean, if someone's... Because, there are a lot of really good people in this industry, especially on the security researcher side, that they do want to help sites out. They do want to publish great content. And I think when it comes to something like... I don't know, it'd be cool to be able to sign up to... when this becomes a bigger thing, like I think people are gonna blog about a lot more, or someone reported this stuff. I don't know. I think it has a lot of upsides. I think it's going to allow a lot more stuff to become visible because more things are going to get reported to people. So there's going to be people that blog about it. Oh, this security firm, like, Symantec actually contacted me and told me that I'd done this wrong with my Django REST Framework API. How cool are those guys? Like, it's going to be a PR move for a lot of the big security companies to go out and help. Like, if there's a big vulnerability that no one knows about and it hasn't really propagated well in a particular community like Django or WordPress or whatever, there's going to be a lot of good PR for those big security companies to use people's security.txt to contact them and let them know.
Sure.
So still, I think it's actually, I don't know. I think there's definitely upsides to it. I think the downsides are pretty huge if it does become spam, like just a massive spam problem. But I think there's upsides too. I'm interested to see how it goes. I think it could be cool.
Let's see.
It's interesting to see anyway. I like new stuff. And that's pretty cool.
What do we got next,
Yeah, Steve found another thing. Like we were talking earlier today about how a lot of sites are getting hacked and they're using the server's resource to mine Bitcoin or other altcoins or whatever. It seems like this extension, correct me if I'm wrong, I've been wrong once tonight.
You're probably going to be wrong again the way this sentence is starting. Do you want me just to tell you what it is, Garrett?
Well, it says it's a tiny browser extension aiming to block coin miners such as CoinHive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not for when you've been hacked. It's for when the webmasters decided he would really like to use your JavaScript to mine coin. So like you can visit a website. I think the Pirate Bay
like on a client machine.
So yeah, so you visit the Pirate Bay and they use your JavaScript to mine coin while you're on the site. This blocks all that stuff. And I had a really snarky comment on LinkedIn when I shared this, saying, "Oh, definitely, I deliberately didn't write this guy's name down because who the fuck's this guy?" He's like, "Oh yeah, you're only giving up 0.01% of your computer resource," and everyone knows. I mean, with the best will in the world, JavaScript uses a good chunk
a piece
more.
of shit, to begin with, and it's very actually resource intensive for a relatively light piece of shit framework.
Yeah. And it's much better than it used to be. I mean, it is massively improved. But if you go ahead and start mining coin, it's not going to be 0.01%, buddy. So when someone makes a comment like that, I know that.
And JavaScript runs off your CPU, which is not good at mining anything.
Oh, they deliberately mine. That's the one thing these guys aren't stupid about. They deliberately mine the GPU resistant coins.
I don't know. So I know nothing about this guy. Zero.
So basically,
anyway, GitHub / it's GitHub // nocoin.
Basically, they found a way where if you come to my website and you're loading some JavaScript that I supposedly need to run my website, I'm basically using your computer's resources to mine Bitcoin. It's like going to like a really shitty website that blasting a bunch of pop-ups and it hogs you down. Same concept, except we're gonna mine 1/1,000,000th of a percent of a Bitcoin out of you.
Yeah.
And
which is like worth what, like $20?
Not even.
It crashed. Is it back up yet? I mean, it's still worth a lot. It's worth like $3,500, I think. But.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to go to 5,000 was insane. It was obviously going to have an adjustment from there. I mean, let's be realistic.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the sad state of Bitcoin.
So, but now's the time to buy.
It's in a great state. It's worth $2,500. It was worth nothing.
Well, I don't care what it's worth. I'd rather have it see Bitcoin actually was being used when it was worth nothing. Now nobody uses it because no one knows what the fuck it's worth.
That's one thing they didn't anticipate was people are really confused by big denominations. Like if the US dollar came in $100,000 chunks and everything was priced as like I need to buy 14,
like going to
17,
Japan or Zimbabwe.
14 10,000s. Well, no, it's the other way around. Like you're buying to go and buy your Coke, you have to give them 14 100,000th of a dollar.
Yeah.
It's really confusing, and Bitcoin's heading that way. Like people are like, "Oh, I am sending you 0.0017 Bitcoin."
Yeah,
and they didn't think about the reason currencies work is they're regularly kind of rejigged so the numbers make sense.
Yeah,
like things are just
Well, that's why I think
cheap crap is a few cheap coins, and expensive things cost multiple dollars. It just makes sense in your head. To pay, for a top of the line computer, 0.8 of something is a bit weird. in people's, and that is affecting its use because it's confusing to people. Like, what am I doing?
People they can't understand that the value of like 0.8 is in Bitcoin is more valuable than however many dollars.
It's that kind of stuff is quite important in currency theory. And it's actually it was originally found. The stock market were the ones who discovered this economic theory. So, have you ever wondered why stocks split 2-for-1 for no apparent reason?
Because the individual prices.
Because the price goes up after you do it.
Yeah.
For no reason. Like, it happens less now with algorithmic trading and all the quant and all the. But in the old days,
I'm not a good trader. So you're saying, like, let's just say stock's worth 40, and you split it into 220s or something.
Yeah. Like, because people.
Okay, so then you'd rather pay 23 because you're dumb, right?
Because back before
you'd rather pay $23 twice and pay 46 than you would 40. Is that the gist?
People just thought, like, if your company had a stock price of $500, they're like, oh man, that's a lot for a share. Like,
well, then buy half a share. Buy through an ETF or something.
That was exactly my point to answer Vin's question. Yes is the answer. People think if you that's why stock splits 2-for-1 and stuff in the old days, and
so you're saying I can understand I can buy a tenth of a Bitcoin, and most people can't. They just don't understand.
They see that as being worth less than if Bitcoin divided into 10. They would think they had more if they had 1 Bitcoin now than if they had 0.1 transaction. And that's why stocks split 2-for-1 and immediately bumped.
Do people not take like high school economics?
Well, high school economics told you.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, I'm not the smartest guy in the world about that shit, but like,
yeah.
I'm just explaining a psychological issue that people have with numbers that was exploited in the stock market.
I've been talking to some people about the difference between supply and demand and wholesale. And the idea is if there's a huge demand, you can sell it for way more, and if you have to have a lot more. And this guy's like, well, how come I go to Walmart or Sam's Club and I get a deal when I buy more at once? I'm like, that's like two totally unrelated things. Like,
I would love to see your face, Garrett, when that question was asked. The look
like,
of disbelief.
It's like, I'm still giving you a deal because you bought a bunch in bulk. But as a whole in the world, we're still buying a fuck ton of paper towels. And because of that, I can raise the price. I don't know.
But people find big stock prices confusing. People find big Bitcoin price probably confusing. It's not a perfect market in the way of the stock market because it's extremely illiquid.
Right.
And there's no mature futures market.
I'm waiting for
there is a futures market for
Bitcoin?
Yeah.
I want to see what happens to that.
But it's controlled by market makers. So
I can tell. I could have told you that after the recent all the headlines in the Wall Street Journal today. Someone's talking shit about Bitcoin, but they bought on the dip. They bought $2 billion on the dip. It's like, if I have Bitcoin,
that's the straight market manipulation. Isn't it?
Yeah. And it sounds weird. I'm really actually okay with it in the long run because.
I don't own any Bitcoin. We spoke about this before. Us guys.
I don't even have any right now either, so I shouldn't say anything. But I sold on the high, and some people, I made my Facebook status. I got some direct messages because there's a couple of guys in the SEO groups that have transferred all their effort into starting these new groups about Bitcoin and altcoins, and start more scam groups. And I'm like, who actually sold when it was $5,000? Oh, what the fuck? You talking about me? I sold when it was like 38. I got out before the low. I'm like, well, I sold about about $1,300 higher than you. And you're supposed to be the expert selling your fucking knowledge, cunt.
Well, you can't guess it right. I mean, no one's gonna get it right every time.
Not that I guess, but like I had a pretty good idea when the major banks start selling off. Like they own billions of it in a relatively small cap. Treat it as a fund. Someone sells off that huge, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, obviously it'll probably go back up next year.
Oh, I mean, I think Bitcoin will be. I mean, unless they. I mean, I
It's
genuinely
just silly
think,
for these guys to sit here.
I think they will. I think they will split Bitcoin. The problem they've got, again, psychologically though, is the value of the coins isn't measured, and if they weren't competing with other
It's
coins, they
measured
would
to
have
nothing.
split.
It's so beautiful.
Well, no, they would have split if they were competing against nothing. They would have split Bitcoin already. They'd have split it 1,000 for one, and a Bitcoin would be $2.50. The problem is they're competing with altcoins that are rocketing up to 400, 500, 1,100. So the only reason Bitcoin can say we're the biggest coin because we haven't split yet. But it's meaningless. Like the market
It really means
capital is
nothing.
all that matters. Yeah, like if you.
That's why it's
if
so
you-
much fun for me.
If you have $1 billion company with 1 billion shares, they're $1 a share.
Right.
If you have a company that's worth $50,000 and you have 2 owners, $25,000 a share. But if they split Bitcoin now to a number where people felt like, oh, they understood it and they were going to go buy their crisps with it, people would be like, oh, Ethereum's 400 or whatever it is now, I don't even know, and Bitcoin's only $1. So
That's
they can't
where I'm-
split it.
That's where I'm dissatisfied in the whole community. It's like, obviously people are always going to take advantage. Human nature, you're never going to get away from it. But 10 years ago, a beautiful idea of Bitcoin is now just who can profit the most. The whole idea was just like remove money from the equation of life, and now it's just
by making a new type of money.
Well,
that people made a huge amount of money from mining.
Yeah, see.
I think it was a failed vision.
Well,
if that was,
it was a good idea. It didn't work.
The whole thing with Bitcoin is that
that was a great idea, and I think it's worked out pretty well, but it hasn't achieved what you hoped it would achieve. Yeah. I think people.
I do think there's a digital currency on its way.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bitcoin or something else. That.
I think it's in the short term. So, like, if we're talking in a few years on this podcast, it'll still be Bitcoin. I think the idea that we can't even write a contract in English that doesn't result in endless arguments. We can't even write a CMS to host our words that isn't hackable. The idea that all business is going to go into these perfect computer code written contracts within the next 5 years is absolutely freaking insane.
Yeah.
We can't even keep the words safe on our website. You know?
I'll be right up.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
And that's why I really haven't invested in digital currency at all, just because I don't feel like it's fleshed out yet. You know, and I don't have the time to.
No, it's just the pure time.
Like
I started looking at it, and you're going to have to spend 5 to 10 hours a week studying what's going on to make the right SEO picks and stuff. And it's like, we're running a business here, for God's sake. I mean,
and you can just
maybe I'm leaving some value on the table, but maybe I would be a degen that would make the wrong decisions and lose some money. It's like, who the hell knows? We're all running a business. If I was an employee, I would totally put like 5% of my money in or whatever, just at random, because, and I'm probably still going to have the odd 1,000 here and there, do a couple of ICOs for a laugh or whatever, and if one of them blows up, woohoo! But I'm still tempted by that search one. I think we should all do that search one. We should buy like 50,000 searches on that new.
On that browser, right? Yeah.
We should do that one a couple of months ago, a couple of shows ago, just because it's the only one in our industry so far. So why not? So,
yeah,
at least we're able to tell if it's a good search engine or not. And if we did like $500, who cares? You know.
Yeah. Well, eventually I'll get into it. Right now I just invest in my normal portfolio and I'm happy with it.
Yep, for sure.
I'm full boring on the normal portfolio.
We're coming up on 2 hours here, so you want to talk quick about what Gary Ellis had to say at Brighton SEO? You were out there last week with Mark.
Yeah. Obviously, we didn't go to his presentation, but his main things were like all these algorithms. I'm going to be really super quick because, like Garrett says, we want to wrap up at the 2 hour mark. Everything that all these algorithms people think are changing all the time and they're messing around with, they're dead to them. Like, he's in charge of Penguin and it's just kind of set the way it is. his favorite of the what he calls black hat scrapers that try and predict his algorithm is Moscast. He genuinely sees, though, like when they look at their own data, because they have their own internal volatility measures that they use when they do an update to see what happens. They see like under 3% of queries affected, and they see Moscast at like 120 degrees, like as if the apocalypse is coming. So he was like, look, when you look at them, just assume it's about 8 times less bad than it looks, because that's what's happening on our end. He's like, we don't make, 60% of search results change type updates because it's too high risk to our business. So it was just kind of a nice kind of chill out. It was quite interesting because he did a Q&A. So I'd heard, I remember before we spoke about it, and I'd said I wasn't going to go and see him because I'd heard before when he talks like as a keynote, it tends to be quite just a kind of Google's thought leadership mission type stuff, which I don't want to hear because we
want to hear them.
Yeah. I mean, I know what they're up to, and they do some great stuff and they do some less great stuff, and I don't want to hear someone try and convince me. I'll just watch what they do and judge it. But I was kind of disappointed that it was actually a really good Q&A and he answered some proper questions. Although he has a bit of a sarky sense of humor and avoids answering quite a lot of questions. If you read the link, he's pretty funny actually. He's grown on me from that Q&A, so I definitely check it out when Garrett puts the link up.
I gotta read this one. Hey, so how was your experience last week at Brighton?
We had the problem is every meeting you have goes on for like hours, and then you have to walk to where the next people have happened to sit down. So like on the Friday, we had 3 main meetings. So we met some people just socializing at the bar, and that was really cool. Really weird industries. I won't say what, obviously, because don't know what's going to come of it yet business-wise. And then we went to meet some existing clients, and that was like, a 45-minute walk away, sat down, had an hour with them. Then we had to rush back from another meeting, and then we met them, had dinner, and then it was like 11 o'clock at night. And we're like, we've been here for a whole day-long conference. And
haven't done much.
So, yeah, it was a bit less good than last time when I just went down there by myself and sat in the bar the whole time and didn't have any structure at all and just got smashed up at the bar and spoke to everyone who was wandering around, and then went down the seafront and got more smashed up because I just met loads of people just really randomly all over the place. So I think when I do conferences again, I'm going to go super unstructured, just try and stay in the conference bar the whole time, and just mingle and meet people there rather than book meetings. Which I think is kind of cool because we're all up to Ungagged, as the viewers probably know from before. And a lot of our Ungagged type meetings are going to be in and around the conference, so before, after, and in the evenings. So we should have quite a lot of free time during the actual conference just to hang out at the networking venues and meet people at the bars in the building and stuff. Because I think that's the strategy from last time to this time. I thought I was doing the right thing, being super organized. All it did was pass the day because you've organized to meet someone. Is totally different than you bump into them at the bar and you're like, oh, let's go mingle over here now. They think you've kind of come to see them for a few hours. You want to actually give them the value that you've promised them and spend some time with them, not just run away after 5 minutes. But then, of course, from your point of view, once you get into that, the time goes quicker because you're enjoying a really deep meeting. So you end up having a really long, deep meeting, and then the day's gone. So we had 3 really long, really deep meetings, which I think will result in some really nice business and time and stuff like that. But I think a more unstructured approach is the way to go. If you're going to a conference, you want to get as many meetings. You want to just bump heads with as many people as possible. So I'm going to be a bit more relaxed next time and not try and cram my diary as much as I did this time because it was pretty. It was a full day, but I only met like 5 new people that I hadn't spoken to before, which is.
Yeah, I've got a couple of tentative meetings for all of us, but like you said, I like to bounce around and just enjoy the conference and go to some of the lectures. And
there's a couple of really good speakers at Ungagged actually. I'm going to definitely see.
I like how they separated the tracks, like the SEO track and the content track.
Yeah, I think
that's really smart. But yeah, I want to see what comes of it. I don't want to plan my whole week there.
No, that was a mistake. Over planning, definitely.
Do you guys want to go to PubCon, or let's do that?
Is that the same week, or when is it?
It's the week before. We would have to be in Vegas for 2 weeks straight.
No, I already ruled that.
I would do it normally. I'd be happy to join you, straight up. But Megan is already very upset that our baby's due like a week after I get back.
Oh, okay. All right.
And she's upset that my original trip was 7 days, but I had to push it back. I'm getting in on the 12th at like 9 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, and then flying out right away on Thursday.
I'm in on the 9th if anyone's in. I think Ben gets in the 10th.
Yeah, I'm there the 10th until I leave the last day of the conference on the 15th.
I've got as a meeting on the 10th. Actually, I won't say who on the air, obviously, because it's not someone who wants to be in public discussion. But I've got as a meeting on the 10th for a few drinks.
Cool.
We're gonna do a cigar bar apparently. So
I gotta get my suit situation in order.
Me too. 'Cause I don't really fit into any of my suits anymore. So
yeah, there's a place in the mall that's Suit Supply or Suit something or another. They do custom suits for relatively inexpensive.
Across from the Trump?
Oh, at the mall by me here in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I think they're a chain.
Okay, cool.
But,
well, I'm gonna be more like the 1960s sports coat and.
Yeah, I can see you in a Hawaiian T-shirt and some like Bermuda shorts or something like that.
I have literally
sounds like our buddy Mark.
I literally have never worn a Hawaiian T-shirt. However,
And then a straw hat.
buy me one, I will wear it for the live from Las Vegas version of this show because I'm down to make that one a different look for me if you want. So you can buy me.
It's your Sassy Steve persona.
Sassy Steve.
He's laid back.
Sorry,
Sassy
guys.
Steve.
Tuned in for back to stuck at home working and getting on with business. Steve again. Eric Tal Savage or Sassy Steve as his alter ego is not here this week, but he will be back in November for Las Vegas' show. So
very cool.
All right, let's blow through these reviews quick. This week I got SEO Quake. Been using it for probably fucking 5 years now. It's a division of SEMrush, but it's free. It's a plugin for your browser. They have all sorts of cool stuff. If you do a search in Google on Chrome, it's a plugin. It gives you a lot of cool information about each domain that shows up. But what I really like it for, I don't really like using it in SERPs. It means nothing to me, but someone approaches me like, can you give me really quick pointers on your site? Like if we go back to this site here, I'm just going to go to SEO Quake. Diagnosis. It's really basic, but as you guys probably know if you're watching this, a lot of people don't have the basics. Just really screwed up stuff like, dude, you have a 300-word title tag. Knock it off. You don't have a single heading tag on your entire homepage. Fix that. You're using frames. You have 20 frames on your site with like 3 videos and some pictures. Stop. You know, it's basic, but it also has like, does the site have robots, XML sitemap, some other
I like
stuff.
the keyword density stuff.
That's good
all
too.
The 2 and 3s and
Yep. So like, if you're looking at a specific page, obviously we're looking at a page about Gary Isles, so it's going to be marked up pretty heavy.
You'd hope so. Let's see.
But you get the gist. It's really cool for a really quick slam bam. Thank you, ma'am. You're not going to waste your time on 5-hour proposal. Just be like, hey, your site has some problems. Fix this stuff on your own, or I'll give you a really quick quote hourly, and then we can talk about me putting 3 hours into a proposal about how your major competitor has 800 referring domains. And
you have
probably
64.
Yeah, you need to spend probably $25,000 a month for the next 2 years to be competitive. It's a time saver for me, honestly, so it's good.
Sure. Cool, man.
I must admit, I laughed when you put that one down because I didn't realize I just automatically, when I get a new computer or reinstall Windows, I automatically install SEO Quake on Chrome. And like we've got to like episode 6. And it's just a default install for us, and
yeah, we haven't even mentioned it.
Like,
it's because I think
Chrome comes. I actually think Chrome comes with SEO Quake installed because I've never. Never used it without it. Like this, the SERPs don't have that data at every line.
Yeah,
Yeah, I always install SEO Quick and usually like Mozbar or something like that. I usually have 2 installed at one time. But
Well, I stopped using Mozbar when they made you like log in every time to use
yeah, which is
I'm like, no, screw you guys.
awesome.
I don't like Moz, in case you guys didn't know.
So we use Scrapey a lot. We use Scrapey a lot. Steve kind of did a lot of back end work for us, obviously, and saved us a lot of money for outreach.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get in arguments with me and DMs on Facebook too about the way we do it. But end of the day, Scrapey is a huge tool if you know how to do stuff. And I still think we're building a high volume of links that people don't touch and a quality that people don't touch. So Steve, how does this work for us?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty with Scrapey is it's for you can build custom scrapers. So a lot of people use Screaming Frog for this kind of stuff, and it's really like super fiddly. Like you have to go through and extract the data, get it into Excel, manually check things. But like, say you're doing a link reclamation project, so you put in so you just want to see where people have mentioned your domain. So you bang that into Link Prospector or Scrapebox or whatever your favorite Google scraping tool is, and scrape all the sites where there's a page with yourdomain.com on. You then need to go through and find which ones are on the right topic and also don't link to you definitely. You can write a custom scraper in Scrapey probably in 25 minutes or something if you've done one. Take you 3 hours the first time because you got to because you don't have to code in Python. You just have to learn how Scrapey works. It is in Python, and understanding Python will help you enormously, but you don't have to be able to actually code in Python. You just have to be able to write a bit of code and understand Scrapey. So if you've done any programming at all in anything, it's a framework, so you just have to learn the rules of the framework. So once you've done your first one, 20 minutes, you're able to do a custom scraper that uses some kind of just sensible document analysis, like is this probably a page we even want to link from, and does it definitely not link to us? You check those 2 things, and then your outreach team gets a list of the actual 30 they need to write to reclaim links, instead of the original results from Scrapebox or Link Prospector might be 8,000.
Right.
Which people would work through manually, like it's insane. Or you put it into Screaming Frog or whatever, and you just know the ones that don't link to you, but you don't even know that, because obviously Link Prospector is just using Google. Like some of the ones that, if your domain.com includes keywords that are common, like if you were bestdrugtreatment.com, there's going to be a lot of shit in there that isn't right. Writing your own custom scraper gets you around all of that and narrows it down much quicker. And then just, rinse and repeat for broken link building, co-citation findings. So you're looking to take a whole bunch of Link Prospector scrapes for link pages and actually look for link pages to get yourself on where at least 3 of your competitors are on, and where the topic of the page appears to be correct. Again, you can write a custom scraper in Scrapey. And the beauty of it is it's multi-threaded. So you're able to fully max out the capacity of your PC and internet connection and get it done in a few minutes once you've coded it up. And Scraping Hub, they actually offer a free cloud where you can do really small scrapes in the cloud for completely free. So for most one-man band agencies, you can just do these scrapes for free in the cloud. You haven't even got to do it on your own internet connection. So I learned Scrapey and Python scraping about 7 years ago, something like that. And I haven't paid for a scraping tool since. I know Garrett still uses Screaming Frog a fair bit for some quick and dirty scrapes that he likes to do, and it's super powerful.
Yeah, quick and dirty.
It's a fantastic tool. But when you want to do the
Stephen Van Essem's tool is super neat, but personally, I just don't use it once a month. He has it really fairly priced too, like $30 a month. I probably should just buy it, but it's just really good. I just don't use it enough to.
It's a different purpose, isn't it? It's your own site. Like it's if you're content kings, like if you own a big authority site and you have like 80 writers, an SEO team, a PR team, a technical team, and people are changing shit all the time. It does everything
better. Yeah, better and more detailed. It's really great. It really is. It's just no use for me. So
Mhm.
not enough.
Garrett still likes to look at every page one at a time and see what's wrong.
Well,
He's the old school.
well,
He's the old school at 27. I forgot you were as young as 27, man. Jesus.
yeah.
You're making me feel old, boys.
I'm not even gonna ask. I'm in the middle, I guess.
yeah, probably. Hope you're not as old as Steve.
Oh, yeah, I hope not for your sake either, man. I mean, you certainly look young, so you're doing well. It's that well moisturized American skin. You know, over here in Britain, we just go to shit.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna this week I'm gonna review Loganix. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce the brand. I think it's Loganix. It's they offer it's my buddy Adam's Adam Steele's company, and they offer a bunch of different SEO services. But like I mentioned, I do have a few local SEO clients that I still do work for. And I was finding myself spending a whole lot of time doing citation cleanups and citation audits and citation building for this one client. And I found that Adam and his company Loganix was offering all of these services, and they were doing quite well at them. So far, I just used the $7 citation audit that they offer, and I got it back in like 24 hours. And they found
And it was
something,
$7.
$7, yeah. And they found something like 1,500 citations and all the variations. So in 24 hours, they gave me, a month of work, to work on and go clean up those citations and fix the name, address, and phone number for my client. And if I wanted to pay them for it, they will do the cleanup. And basically that's all it is. I think the cleanup's like $500.
Yeah,
We'll go,
and that's great value anyway. I mean,
that's.
we
cheaper than my charge.
yeah. I mean, we did a course on finding the broken citations. If you were doing it manually, and unless you're, yeah, I mean, there's no way you could even watch the course we did for as cheap as $7 worth of your time. I mean, it's like a 2-hour lecture. And you're so like unless you're on $3.50 an hour, you're 100%. You've got to buy those. Forget watching our course. We'll delete it. Yeah. We'll replace it. I mean, $7 isn't. That sounds fantastic. I mean, I think we would use that.
I haven't done work with Adam in probably like 3 or 4 years now. But from what I remember, he was like a process and system nut, and he just like drilled that down until he had almost a perfectly automated system.
So that's like a Google scraper for citations. Like he just finds everything based on your input, and then it comes back to you.
For the audit, it's definitely some kind of push button system he has that generates the spreadsheet. I'll show you the spreadsheet when we're done today. But it was legit, and now I can send them that spreadsheet, and they can go outreach to all the different platforms or change it up. So I match my NAP listings. And then once that's done, I can pay him however much he charges for new citations. And, my one client's going to be doing really well once that's all done.
What does the $500 include? Because the cheapest one I've seen was $279, but they only did the most important 50 citations. What does he do for the 500 fix up?
Okay, let me go through their. So the audit, which they just find the existing citations and tell you which ones are not matching your current NAP. That's $7.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
The citation cleanup, which is basically the audit plus editing all those existing citations to your.
So he would do all 1,500.
I'm going to look for you right now. Fix my citations. It looks like it starts at 400, and then there's a premium one that's 550, and then there's like a monthly. It looks like it's about 500 to clean all that.
He's on the same ballpark. Yeah, same ballpark
That's really
as
good
me,
value.
because I think my list is up to about 230, but I obviously charge more than that.
And then it looks like also to do new citations from scratch, it's between 400 and 550 for between like 50 and 150 citations.
In Garrett's defense, though, his citation cleanup isn't purely technical. Like when he does your Yelp listing, he'll write sales copy on your Yelp listing. They'll actually, when people visit it, they'll buy your stuff. So it's like a sales audit more than just a technical. But if you're struggling to even get anything done at all, $550 to get
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
That's a good deal.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
And you know, the main goal for my local guy here is just to get him ranked higher on the maps listings.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, you're not worried about his Yelp conversions at this
Yeah,
stage.
yeah,
You'll
yeah.
rewrite those yourself at a later stage if
Sure. So, you know,
Cool.
it might cost like half of my monthly budget for this client for one
It's well
month,
worth it.
but
Yeah.
it's like the last thing I'm ever gonna have to do for this
Right.
guy, other than like the monthly links we do for him.
Yeah.
So it's I haven't really used anything else by Loganix so far, but I'm gonna order the citation cleanup this week, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, it's been a great experience.
Cool.
Well, we'll give him a go on the site as well, and we'll do 2 reviews.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Adam to join us on
fine.
on the show one of these days. But
Yeah.
I think
It'd be great to have him on. Let's both use him on a site, and then and we won't disclose the sites, of course. But in like 6 weeks' time or something, we'll get him on the show and we'll see how it goes.
I follow him on Instagram.
Or if it's terrible, we'll never mention it again. And you guys can draw your own conclusions.
I think he's on his honeymoon right now, so he may be out of touch for some time. But,
Sorry, when you get the order in from, you see these faces when you get the order in. If you're not on the show, people are going to draw their own conclusions, guys. So make sure it goes really well for us.
All right, Steve, what's your don't tweet this for the week?
All right, so I'm doing Vin's and mine, as you remember from earlier in the show, so I'll be
Correct.
super quick. The first one was just going back to what Vin was talking about with getting links from sponsorships and scholarships. And super cool one. If you have what appears to be an authority site in your niche, get on Kickstarter and stuff like that and look for products and new things coming out in your niche. Reach out to those guys. Get them to give you a review copy or just write about it generally. And then ask to be, loads of them will give you a do follow link from their Kickstarter page as a media place that's covered them. Because in that first month, they're desperate for coverage. And a couple of our web properties, me and Garrett's, have got links for do follow links from Kickstarter pages and many more from other crowdfunding ventures that are springing up just through writing reviews on various what appear to be authority sites in the industry. But which are, are little babies with no traffic and no money yet. But a nice way to pick up some authority links very early on. I mean, one of them was only 9 months old and had, we'd invested under $500 in content at the time, and we were able to grab some of those links. So that's a don't tweet this, because if everyone starts doing literally don't tweet that one, because if everyone starts doing it, no one will get any links. Because, how many startups are there in each niche? There's like 3 a month in each sector. They're going to get like 9,000 emails and 2 of you will get links. So keep that one to yourself. And my original one was usergrow.com. There's actually a ton of these services. Usergrow.com is just one that it's from Build, Grow, Scale. I'm not recommending them generally as a business. I've just literally, because I know they have a massive portfolio of internet marketing stuff, courses and all kinds of things, and you know how we feel about a lot of that stuff here. So, but we tried this one tool because it's like it was really cheap, really simple to use, and it solved a problem that we were having where we didn't have enough of our own viral content, but we were always sharing stuff on these social accounts of brands we were promoting. And what it let you do is share other people's content, but it went via a redirect page on UserGrow where your Facebook pixel was. So you could add people to your. So like, say you have you're building your own Pinterest, you're building your own Twitter accounts, you're building your own Facebook accounts, and you're sharing content from all around the web. And you've all seen the ones where, and this tool has this as well, where you share it and it says, Steve shared this, check out Steve's latest article here. And it gets you traffic from it. This also has a feature where you can just literally share it and it sends them to a page first where it pixels them on Facebook or wherever other pixel you want to pixel them with, then sends them to what they just clicked on. So you've shared, I've shared Vin's article about, what was your most recent article, Vin? I'll let you have a plug while we're
Google indexing, I think.
No, just Google indexing. Yeah. So I share Vin's article about Google indexing. Everyone who clicks it on my social feed ends up in my Facebook custom audience. Even if they click on Twitter. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
How are they managing to do that?
And that's because they just send you to a web page that has the pixel on, as if it's as if you shared your web page with the pixel on and then immediately redirect them to Vin's article. So to the user, it's seamless.
I've seen a similar Google Chrome plugin. I forget what it's called, but what it does is once the plugin is, you got to get somebody to opt into the plugin, but then as they browse certain websites that you associate with your account, you can have commentary that pops up on articles.
Well, this is better because they don't have to opt into anything. You can have your commentary appear on anyone's website that you share on social. Like I share your article, and I can have a thing at the bottom that says Steve's content's better than Vin's. Click here. And if someone clicks your article on my social feed, they see my ad on your page.
Yeah.
Or I can just send them to your page and pixel them for future advertising. So that's why I said don't tweet this. I was going to put it as my product review, but I really don't want you guys to tweet this kind of stuff because I'm sure it's against Facebook's terms of service for a start. So I wouldn't use it on any client projects. I wouldn't use it on any of your real authority sites that you want to be around for a while. But if you want to build a Facebook audience and like you have a survival site and you have a bunch of Trump people going nuts about your Trump tweets, send all your traffic via this bad boy so you at least get them on your Facebook audience for the future where you can make some money from them, from tents and torches and tactical wristwatches or whatever the shit people are buying these days. I want a tactical vape pen. Like, this is already heavy enough as a weapon. Why can't it have some shit attached to it?
I sent you a client in the tactical space, didn't I? Did that work out?
Yeah, he was an interesting chap. I don't think we're working with him. I would have happily worked with him though, if he wanted to work with us, but I think he wanted something a little bit cheaper.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no big deal. All I gotta say is this week is work's obviously very important, and being honest with yourself to set high goals, high standards, but also remember whatever stage you are at in life, there's other things beside work, and if you find yourself working way too hard, take a break. And you might feel that some people really close to you are neglected, whatever, and you probably neglected yourself in the process. So take a break every once in a while, and you'd be surprised. You come back to it the next day, way fresher. Things just seem to fall into place.
Yeah.
Pick up on your mistakes.
I agree, buddy. That's something I got to apply in my own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. This has been a really tough week.
Yeah.
We've been so busy. I don't think we've had a week this busy. Well, literally, we have never had a week this busy, full stop, in 8 years.
Yeah, good man.
Well, it's a combination. It's not necessarily new business. It's just a combination of some things.
Well, there's been a lot of new business.
There has been a lot of business.
There has been.
It's just stacked with some things that normally don't happen. Busy week.
It is a busy week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and I will literally be checking the fuck out this weekend.
Yeah.
So I can totally get why that one came up this week for Garrick. So I'm sure he's going to be doing exactly the same. We'll speak to each other once all weekend, and we'll say, how much did you drink this Saturday night?
Yeah. On that note, thanks for checking in tonight, boys. Don't forget to smash that like button, share us with your friends, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, whatever you got to do. I know I say the last couple of weeks I'll have some cool videos. I'm working on it. They're in progress. They're going to be cool, and I'm not just one of those assholes out there saying they're going to be cool and you should buy it from me. They're going to be cool, and I say that because I don't want to work in this space ever again. So they're going to be cool. Yep, and we'll see you next week, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks guys.